In Season 1, people thought Thaddeus was becoming a ghoul after the courier healed his foot with a strange elixir. Both his broken foot and damaged throat were miraculously healed, and Maximus implied that his friend was becoming a ghoul.
Oh no. Ah, so stupid. I should have never trusted a doctor that smelled like that.
Rapid healing is something ghouls are capable of doing when exposed to intense radiation, like a chunk of uranium ore. But Thaddeus wasn't exposed to intense radiation when he healed, and that is the first clue he's becoming something different to a ghoul. In Season 2, he looks different as well. Hair loss, skin damage, a new mouth growing from his shoulder, and towards the end of the season, his arm falls off. The skin around his shoulder is dead, and while losing limbs is normal for ghouls, noses tend to be the first thing that is lost. Thaddeus still has his sniffer, something he comments on when talking to Coop.
Still got my nose. That's the worst thing, really, is just waiting for it to fall off. Just hurry it up already.
Now, with Thaddeus having lost an arm, the rapid healing powers, and the small mouth growing from his shoulder, I think it's safe to say he's becoming a mutant, and the elixir was FEV. The forced evolutionary virus is clearly becoming a large part of the show, and Thaddeus is our first look at how FEV alters humans. How this particular strain of virus alters humans anyway. There's a lot of different strains out there, and they can all do different things depending on the strain, application, and duration, the results of which are staggering. A popular theory is Thaddeus is turning into a centaur. The loss of hair, damaged skin, and missing arm does align with centaur in the game, but those mutants are created in a very specific way. Long story short, if you dip a human and several body parts into FEV, you get a centaur. Dip two humans at the same time, or one human and an animal, like a dog, you get two-headed centaur. Do this enough times and you get something else entirely. But Thaddeus' body was the only genetic material for the FEV to play with, so he can't be a centaur. Now, I did say FEV comes in many strains, and sometimes they do different things. Usually, they turn you into a super mutant or a centaur, but there's some cases of humans turning into other types of mutants, like the Grafton monster, and sometimes it doesn't turn you into a mutant at all. Sometimes it gives the subject psychic powers. Other times it gives animals the ability to speak. But the new mouth on Thaddeus' shoulder kind of reminds me of a snallygaster and the many eyes all over its body. Maybe this is just the first mouth of many that FEV decided Thaddeus needed. Or maybe FEV gave him the ability to absorb other creatures, and Thaddeus doesn't remember it happening, with the mouth being the only thing left after assimilation. I say this because there's two FEV mutants in Fallout that Thaddeus kind of reminds me of: the Master and Harold. Now, the Master was a human who spent a significant amount of time submerged in a vat of FEV. Soon after, tentacles lashed out of his body and pulled living things into him. Rats, dogs, people. Over time, their minds became one, contained inside a putrid mass of pink flesh. That was only possible because of the strain of FEV, the application, duration of exposure, and the many years of assimilation, something Thaddeus might now be capable of doing. I have seen theories suggesting Thaddeus could become a new master-like being, and I believe they are on the right track. However, I feel as though Thaddeus will become a mix between the Master and Harold. Harold was also a human exposed to FEV, the very same vat that created the Master. Only instead of being submerged in FEV for days on end, Harold was knocked unconscious and breathed in the fumes for several hours. Shortly after, he started to change. At first, Harold looked like a ghoul. He called himself a ghoul, and once upon a time, his arm fell off, just like Thaddeus, although Harold also lost a toe and his eye, all of which can be found and taken back to him for a small reward, not that it mattered in the end. Harold's body assimilated a seed, and slowly that seed sprouted atop his head and grew, until one day Harold was rooted in place, unable to move. After many years, he learned to see through the trees around him, all grown from the seed atop his head, which he calls Bob. And the few people who stumbled upon Harold started to worship him. After all, he was creating life in a dead wasteland. So there's two humans, the Master and Harold, exposed to the same strain of FEV, only different applications and duration, resulting in two very different kind of mutants. Now, this strain of FEV, found at Mariposa in California, was used by the Master to create the first generation of super mutants. They were dipped in the vats of FEV, and they were near perfect, thanks to the strain, duration, and purity of the subjects, vault dwellers taken from the vaults. The results were almost flawless.
Oh, this is excellent. You know, I actually doubted my officers when they said they'd captured a prime normal. It is so nice to see you. I can't have a perfectly good prime normal and not make it one of the chosen ones, now can I? After you tell me where your vault is.
Many years later, after Mariposa was destroyed, the Enclave excavated the base with slaves, and those slaves inhaled fumes from the damaged vats of FEV and became the second generation of super mutants. By then the FEV was less pure, and the subjects, wastelanders plagued with radiation and disease, produced super mutants who weren't as refined as the first generation.
Lou tell me watch place, not let no one in. Not normals most. Take normals to the loo. Ooh, Harry confused. You not ghoul, you not normal. What you?
So what is Thaddeus turning into based on these facts? Well, he inhaled FEV for a few seconds, he was the only one exposed at the time, he's growing another mouth and losing limbs, and I feel as though Thaddeus losing an arm, being called a ghoul, and inhaling FEV all point to Thaddeus becoming a mutant like Harold. But I believe this is a red herring. Yes, he was called a ghoul, yes, he's losing limbs, and he was subjected to FEV in a similar way to Harold, though the extra mouth on his shoulder changes everything. I believe Thaddeus possesses the power to assimilate, only instead of a seed like Harold, he assimilated a small creature, maybe a child from the factory. And from here on out, he is going to become something akin to the Master, only much more human-like, which I feel is going to be connected to the super mutant we saw in Season 2. That super mutant is most likely first generation. He's very intelligent, well-spoken, and his actions are rational. If he is first generation, that means he served the Master and was exposed to the pure FEV at Mariposa. That specific strain of FEV will no doubt return in the show. The thing with the first generation mutants is they actually worked alongside certain humans who operated under the Master and a man called Morpheus, who was the leader of the Children of the Cathedral.
I suspect you are a spy sent by the followers. I may be wrong, but I do not take chances. You must be eliminated.
This group recruited human followers for the Master under the promise of achieving unity, peace in other words. I think the chicken is in some way linked to the Children of the Cathedral, and that's how he has access to FEV. His mission was to make more mutants for the upcoming war, and this super mutant, operating from a church no less, is intentional, because it harks back to Unity in Fallout 1 and the Cathedral they once called home. Thaddeus wants to belong. He tries connecting with the children, and then again with Coop, and I think that will be a focal point for the resurgence of Unity in the show. Maximus will feel right at home with the NCR, but Thaddeus won't. Instead, he'll stumble his way into Unity and potentially, based on his appearance when he meets the mutants, which could be vastly different from his appearance in Season 2, will convince the other mutants that the Master lives. And he will go along with it. The mutants will join him, and he will become a symbol for the mutants to rally behind, or be used by those intelligent enough to know that brand recognition is a powerful thing, turning Thaddeus into a new Master, or at the very least a figurehead operating from a cathedral-like structure, drawing mutants from far and wide for the upcoming war, although that is just a theory. Clearly, FEV is a messy subject, it's unpredictable, and the show hasn't given us all the variables yet. But the signs are clear. Thaddeus is not a ghoul, and he's not becoming a centaur or a super mutant either. He's becoming something else entirely, something new that defies easy categorization. Whatever he becomes, it's being shaped by forces we don't fully understand, And that uncertainty is what's fascinating to me, and hopefully to you as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what Thaddeus will become, and how his role in the show will change over the coming seasons.